Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into what financial insiders are actually calling the American Exodus. We are witnessing a massive, profound structural transformation in European investment migration, and it is specifically designed around the needs of U.S. high net worth individuals. Now, if you're an American executive evaluating an offshore hedge, the historic Mediterranean hub of Malta remains an absolutely premier jurisdiction. But, as you'll see, the mechanism for entering this market in 2026 has fundamentally shifted from what you might remember. So let's just address the elephant in the room right off the bat. Can you still just write a check and buy a European passport directly in 2026? The answer is a definitive, absolute no. Following some landmark rulings by the European Court of Justice, the traditional transaction-based citizenship-by-investment programs, the old CBI models across the bloc, have been fundamentally killed. The era of pure capital-only passport purchases is totally over. But don't worry, as we'll explore, this isn't a closed door at all. It's an evolution into something much, much stronger. All right, here's our executive briefing for today. We're going to cover 1. The European shift, 2. The new rulebook, 3. The Malta Golden Visa, 4. U.S. expat tax strategy, and 5. The 2026 market matrix. Let's start with Section 1, the European shift, and really the end of transactional passports. Because capital alone just doesn't cut it anymore. Cross-border planners literally need a whole new playbook. But, savvy investors are realizing that securing a foothold in a sovereign European state hasn't been lost. It's been upgraded. Dr. Jean-Philippe Chekatouti, a top private client advisor over in Valletta, really hit the nail on the head here. He points out that the closure of those old transaction-style options has actually sanitized the market. High net worth Americans want an asset that withstands EU judicial scrutiny, right? They want to secure a legally unimpeachable status, rather than some quick shortcut that might get challenged or revoked later. Moving on to Section 2, the new rulebook, defining the genuine link. So, if pure capital doesn't work, what actually does? Well, it all comes down to profile-driven migration. To satisfy international regulatory expectations, your capital must now be secondary to authentic, verifiable ties to the country. For those seeking full citizenship, Malta's citizenship by merit is the new standard. This is a discretionary framework under Subsidiary Legislation 188.04. What does that mean for you? It means it requires 8 to 12 months of legal residence, plus exceptional non-financial contributions to Malta's culture, science, or economic development. The state is actively looking for job creation, tech incubation, and strategic philanthropy that aligns directly with their Vision 2050 National Development Strategy. Basically, your profile matters just as much as your portfolio now. All right, Section 3, the Malta Golden Visa. Let's look at the core financial architecture. Now, while citizenship is the ultimate tier, the pragmatic, predictable path forward for most cross-border planners runs through the Malta Permanent Residence Program, commonly known as the Malta Golden Visa. The baseline to enter? €500,000. Yep, to pass the rigorous asset validation process in 2026, an American applicant must demonstrate a verified net worth portfolio of at least €500,000. But it's not just about hitting that total amount, it is all about exactly how that capital is structured. So that €500,000 total net worth is broken down very carefully. You can hold €350,000 in general assets. Think real estate, business valuations, things like that. But, and this is a strict sub-requirement, you absolutely must maintain €150,000 in highly liquid financial assets. We're talking equities, bonds, or cash deposits, just to prove genuine, accessible financial stability. Alongside validating your net worth, there's a specific physical capital configuration required, known as the property track. You have two options here. You can execute a qualifying real estate purchase of at least €375,000, though actually that drops to €300,000 if you target Gozo or the south of Malta. Or, if you'd rather not buy, you can enter a long-term lease at €14,000 a year, which again drops lower to around 10 to 12K in designated lower density zones. In addition to the property, there are mandatory sovereign contributions you need to make. This includes a non-refundable €60,000 government administration fee, a €2,000 philanthropic donation directly to an approved Maltese NGO, and you do need to hold comprehensive private health insurance. But listen to this, because this is honestly the most striking advantage of this entire framework. To maintain this lifelong permanent residency, there are absolutely 0 days of physical presence required. 0. You literally don't even have to step foot on an airplane to keep your backup plan totally active.
The onboarding process itself is a highly structured four-phase approval track. First step, intense due diligence vetting. Second, you receive a letter of approval in principle. Third is the real estate and escrow settlement. And for this, you're utilizing institutionally compliant pathways like Payhound for corporate settlements, ensuring total transparency. Finally, phase 4 is the issuance of your lifetime permanent resident certificate. It's clean, structured, and incredibly predictable.
Okay, Section 4, U.S. Expat Tax Strategy. Optimizing the geographic hedge. For an American executive, securing residency is honestly only half the battle. The primary hurdle is always citizenship-based taxation. The global expat default, thanks to the U.S. tax net, often means getting heavily taxed on worldwide income, no matter where in the world you sit. But moving to Malta under this framework means you enter a system where you are taxed only on remitted income. The contrast between that punitive global net and Malta's highly advantageous system is just staggering. Let's break down exactly what this non-domiciled remittance basis of taxation means for you. First, domestic tax is applied only to income earned physically within Malta. Second, foreign source income is taxed only if you physically remit it into a Maltese bank account. And third, and this is an absolute game changer for passive investors, unremitted foreign capital gains are entirely tax exempt, even if you do bring them into the country. This creates an unparalleled environment to maintain your passive U.S. investment portfolios without triggering double taxation. Section 5, the 2026 Market Matrix. Let's compare Mediterranean asset protection. Let's look at the hard metrics here. For the minimum asset threshold, Malta requires a €500,000 total net worth. Portugal also requires $500,000, but they've completely restricted this to non-real estate funds now. Greece? They've heavily inflated their real estate tiers all the way up to €800,000 in prime zones. Now looking at physical presence, Malta requires 0 days to maintain your PR status. Portugal still makes you spend 7 days a year there. And when looking at the path to a passport, Malta requires physical naturalization over 5 to 7 years, maintaining that high programmatic integrity we talked about. Portugal and Greece, on the other hand, have complex language tests or really strict tax residency hurdles. Bottom line, Malta provides superior flexible asset protection compared to the rest of the bloc. In today's landscape, where traditional, transactional passports are completely a thing of the past, the legal frameworks that are left require strategic action. It demands exact profile alignment and flawless expert execution. If you're ready to review the active application parameters, look at exact processing schedules, and initiate your transition, you can access the Stellar Pass Country Insight Portal today. The door to Europe is absolutely still open, but the locks have changed. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. So I'll leave you with this. How will you secure your unimpeachable legal status in the post-CBI era?